Honestly, why did I do that? Obviously, that's now back in the trailer after I decided to be an absolute dip. But seriously, 007 red, what am I doing? It's like, I knew John would be right on the dial. That car is just, it's always on the dial. You always have to be on it when that car's next to you. And yeah, I had to try and get as much tree gap as I could so that the window that I had was going to be small, but I needed to open up the window as much as I could. And yeah, when I rolled in stage, I rolled in a little bit deeper than I usually do as well, so I feel that probably contributed a little bit to my problem, but I was just too eager. Well, that's all right. I'll go back and reassess what I want to do, and the shift and the auto shift as well. I knew it would do that. I honestly knew it would do that. It ran too good yesterday. It ran too good. It had that one gear anomaly on that second pass yesterday, and yeah, honestly, this auto shift is driving me nuts. So next race I'm just going to turn it off. I'm going to turn it off and not going to turn it back on at all at the next race. I'm going to resist the urge to do it. But yeah, so it ruined the run anyway, so even if I was green, it probably would have been an absolutely naff run. So I'm gonna probably go back and change the gear ratio at home now, because yeah, I want that 6th gear. I want this car to be accelerating out the hole. I now know it can run 134 mile an hour, so there shouldn't be any reason now why I think this car shouldn't run a 9. It just needs to get out the hole quicker. So I need to get that gear ratio a little bit more aggressive, but not as much as last year. I've got a plan for that, so we'll get this sorted. But Luke's through, got Jack. To be fair, he had a lucky race because Jack went red and then the engine stumbled, and I'm thinking now, yeah, I don't know. The RPM wasn't very high on the idle. I couldn't be on the line for that run because I was in the lanes for my car. But the spike on the trace, I've checked on the laptop, and it's more closer to an ignition anomaly. So I'm going to be on the line for the next one, and I'll try a higher idle, see if that does it, and see if it goes away. Because we have Harry Pieces in the next one. His car's essentially a 790 car trying to lift and go 890 at the moment. So he's got a spot drop point that he'll always have to hit. So as long as we shadow that, then there shouldn't be too big a problem. But we'll see how it goes, because he did run dead on the dial on the last time, but which must have caught Freddie out quite a bit, because that's really hard to do when you're just lifting like that in a random spot. So it was just unlucky on Fred's part, but the chances of them repeating it twice, I think we should be okay. But we'll go up there, see if it does it. Even if the car stutters again, we should have enough ET covered in the dialing to cover the eventuality. So let's see how it goes. Right, so Luke's got through second round. He's now just got through third round. I still have no idea how he managed that, to be quite honest. I thought the problem went away from the last time. And then in the burnout for the dry hops in the third round against Harley, the car was just stuttering even worse than the first round. Honestly, after a couple of tries of dry hopping, Searfield clear itself, it didn't go away. So I had to think really quickly, do I run it or do I increase the dial? And I just said, no, we need to go higher on the dial. So I told Mum to go higher on the dial. I knew it wasn't going to be high enough to cover a stutter that bad, because it went 813, and on the last one it only had one stutter, and this time it was stuttering like 2 or 3 times off the line. But no, we upped it to an 810 so that if it did just miraculously clear up, he then still had time in hand, and if it didn't clear up, he could just hold it to the floor and hope. And then as it turned out, Luke managed to get a really big advantage off the tree. He was 0.4 to Harley's 0.16. I wasn't expecting that, and yeah, he got down there, and I was for sure thinking he was going to hold it to the floor. And then when I heard him whomping, I was like, whoa, what, why? But yeah, so got the win. We've just got back, we've gone through the whole car, and we've found a little wire, which is one of the 2 wires off of the ignition coil, which, although I can't pull it out of the crimp, it's still wiggling in the crimp. So it's the only thing I can think of. So we've just crimped it even harder, as hard as we can on the very tip of the crimp, and stopped it moving at all. And we've tried running it. It seems to be running okay, but always runs okay on the stand. So we got there. We got Harry Redshaw, one of Luke's good mates and former champion, in the other lane for the semi-final. We're just going to see what the dry hop does. I've got 2 dials in my mind. So if it stutters, we'll hold up one dial. If it doesn't stutter, we'll hold up the other dial. And yeah, we'll just go with that and see what happens. It's a semi-final, so even if we don't get through this one, we've got some really good points for this opening round. So let's see how he does. Alright guys, well, we're now at the end of the video, and we're back home. As you can see, the Junior's already in the garage ready to go and get its maintenance done. My car is sat here waiting. I'll be doing work on that tomorrow, changing the rear sprocket and sorting that out. But no, overall it was a really good weekend. We got through to the semis obviously with Luke, so and Harry completely absolutely nailed us on the tree. That was there was nothing we could do. So we were for that particular race we were set up. I said to Luke we were probably going to run like an 8:06 roughly, and so we were dialing 7 all day, and he said, I'll put an 8 on it. So okay, I said, if you're sure. But little did we know that Harry would absolutely blindside us with an amazing reaction time, and then Luke for some reason was slow off the tree, but there was a really big delay due to an incident, and so Luke was sat in the car for a long time. We know his helmet has been quite small on him this weekend, so he's actually outgrown his helmet, and it was like compressing his head for such a long period of time because we didn't take it off, and he was complaining even before that race that he had a splitting headache. And yeah, I just have a feeling that contributed a little bit to his poor reaction time, because his head was in such a compression. I don't think he was thinking very straight on it. But no, so we've ordered him a new helmet. That'll be here for the next race. You have to stay tuned and find out what we've got him, because it's really cool. And then while we were looking and comparing helmets, I thought, you know what, mine's kind of not great. Like the whole weekend, every time I had the visor down, these race quick visors on this particular model of helmet, I don't think are very good, because the sun just shines right through them, and you get, like, even with the visor down, I'm holding up my hand trying to protect myself from the sun's rays, trying to see the tree, and generally it's quite large. It's much larger than my old Simpson Bandits that I used to race in juniors, and yeah, it just doesn't fit very well. So I made the decision, and I've ordered myself a new helmet as well that should be much better fitting and have a visor that is a much better quality visor. So you'll have to find out at the next race to see what we've both got. They're both really cool. I'm actually really excited about it. So going to get to work on this tomorrow. I'm going to be working on the Junior today, and try to sort the wiring issue, because one of those little wires in that earth block there is obviously a bit of a problem. So that'll get sorted, and then we'll be back in a couple of weeks, where we're going to be at the Festival of Power, which used to be the Springspeed Nationals. So it's kind of the Springspeed Festival of Power National thing on bobber. Kind of like this weekend was meant to be Festival of Power and is now Springspeed Nationals. If you're following the Santa Pod social media, you'll see what I'm on about. Basically, the camping sites had got bogged down over the winter because of so much rain, so they had to swap the two races, because the race that was meant to have happened this weekend was supposed to have like pro mods and top fuel and all that stuff, but they don't want they wanted people to camp for that particular type of event, so they brought forward the sportsman race that's happening in a couple of weeks to this weekend, and then they moved back the race for the top fuelers to the one at the end of this month, which so that people have the chance to hopefully have ground good enough to camp for that weekend. So it was a good decision by the pod, but it then just made everything a little bit funny in terms of what do we call this weekend. So there's sort of like funny names going around with it amongst the sportsman community. But yeah, so we'll see you in a couple of weeks, and make sure to like and subscribe, and Have a great day, morning or evening, whenever you're watching. See you later.